So you have some brands that actually are trained to sell a certain product to deeper skin tones because it's a safe spot. You go to a counter and they selling you like a dark brown liner and a brown gloss. Like it sounds like white. We wear pinks, we wear bright reds, we can wear corals, we can pull all of that stuff off. Sounds like let's do it. And so that's what Rich and Color actually came about. Just finding, and then when I was in the field, because although I was on corporate side, I had to still go in the field and build these relationships. So I would be out in the store helping people, and I had a lot of customers that looked like me that just was sold the wrong product, and they were frustrated. They didn't understand why.
Welcome to the Friends in Beauty podcast, a safe space for ambitious beauty industry creatives to have real talk, get real answers, and practical tools to grow their businesses. My name is Aquia Robinson, and I'm a makeup artist, beauty educator, and the creator of Friends in Beauty. I created Friends in Beauty to support like-minded creatives, just like you, on their quest to connect, network, and build genuine relationships within the beauty community. Join me every week as me and my special guests reveal the keys to success and longevity in the beauty industry, and most importantly, have fun while doing it. You ready? Hey, what's up? It's your best friend in beauty, Aquia Robinson. Welcome back to another episode of the Friends in Beauty podcast. I am so happy to have you here with me, and I hope you're listening to this episode in high spirits and in good health. If you are a friend in beauty, I welcome you to join the Friends in Beauty Facebook community. If you're looking for a community of like-minded, ambitious friends in beauty to virtually connect with, network, and share resources, then click the link down below in the show description to join our community, and I'll be there to welcome you with open arms. Also, follow Friends in Beauty on all social media platforms at Friends in Beauty. What I like to do is something called the Friends in Beauty Friday feature, where every Friday I spotlight a different friend in beauty and their accomplishments. So no matter how big or small you think it is, I want to shout you out. I want to send you some good vibes. So all you have to do is use the hashtag FIB Friday feature and tag Friends in Beauty on something that you have accomplished, and I'll share it with the community. Additionally, the Friends in Beauty podcast is available on several platforms. We're on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Google, you name it, we are there. And whatever platform you are listening from right now, I want to express my gratitude and just say thank you so much for tuning into the Friends in Beauty podcast. And I would love it even further if you took the time to leave a 5-star rating, a review, a subscribe, a share, a like, a comment, whatever you have to do to let me know what you feel about the Friends in Beauty podcast would be greatly appreciated. Also, join the Friends in Beauty mailing list tribe. My mailing list tribe is the first to know about all things Friends in Beauty, and I send out different business resources and tips throughout the week. So if that is something that you're interested in as well, the link for that will be down in the show description. And last but not least, the most important thing is to share the Friends in Beauty podcast with your other friends in beauty, your family, your friends, anybody that you think could benefit from the information that is being shared. Share away to help me grow the Friends in Beauty community. Now today I welcome the CEO of Rich in Color Cosmetics, Shalena Edwards, to the Friends in Beauty guest chair. Rich in Color comes after Shalena's years of experience working as an executive and business manager for top-tier beauty brands. As a mompreneur juggling 2 businesses and 5 children, Shalena has launched a beauty brand especially keeping in mind the skin tones of women of color. From rich glam to soft hues, these pigmented products offer you rich colors and shades to adorn any occasion. A brand that is for everyone, but giving special attention to Rich Melanin Skin. Since then, there has been no going back. The brand has been well received by beauticians and makeup lovers who believe in 2 mantras, Rich and LUXE. Oh my gosh, I had such an amazing chat with Shalena. It was such a pleasure just meeting her and sharing that time with her. In this interview, Shalena shares how her experience as an executive and business manager for top-tier beauty brands has helped her in developing Rich in Color Cosmetics. She also shares how she balances being a mom of 5, a businesswoman, and a wife, how she successfully multitasks and manages her time, tips on hiring freelancers to help in your business, and fun fact, Rich in Color removes 1,328 chemicals from their lipsticks that are known or suspected to cause cancer, genetic mutation, reproductive harm, or birth defects. How crazy is that? So So Shalena shares why it was so important for her brand to go the clean beauty route in this episode. So Friends in Beauty, there's a new rich girl in town, okay? Let's go ahead and jump into this amazing interview with Shalena Edwards, the CEO of Rich in Color Cosmetics. And of course, if you prefer to watch the interview, you can tune in on YouTube. Enjoy. Welcome to the Friends in Beauty podcast, Shalena.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here with you.
Yes, I'm super excited to have you. Your business looks amazing. You're beautiful. Oh my God.
Thank you.
If you all are listening to this, you have to watch on YouTube so you can see how gorgeous Shalena is. Like, oh my God.
Oh, wow.
She came to serve the people today.
Thank you. Thanks. I tried.
Yes. But before we jump into the interview, I would love to start off with some icebreaker questions, just so the Friends of Beauty audience can get to know you outside of the world of beauty.
Absolutely.
All right. So the first one I always ask is just give us 3 random facts about you.
3 random facts. Okay. I have 5 kids. Ranging from the ages of 18 down to twin towers. That's 2. Another random fact is I've been in the beauty industry my whole entire career, like straight out of high school. So that's, that's my background. And I just launched my second business, which is a mommy brand called Give Me 5 Minutes. Mom Needs a Break.
I love that. Mom needs a break. Okay.
Yeah, we definitely do. Yeah.
Do you have any hidden talents?
What's that?
Do you have any hidden talents?
No, when I was younger, I was really into like fashion. So I always said I wanted to be like a seamstress. So I do know how to sew. And a lot of people, I don't even think my husband knows I know how to sew. So I guess that's a hidden talent because I do know how to put, clothes together and, sketches and all that fun stuff. So I guess that's hidden talent.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Wow, but yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So I have these things called pod decks.
Yes.
And this one is a what the heck deck, and this one is a would you rather deck. They're like random. Which one would you like? What the heck or would you rather?
It's what the heck, and what's the second one?
Would you rather?
Would you rather?
Okay. And sometimes these questions are like, okay, who wrote this? Like, who came up with this?
Yeah.
Let's see what we get.
I like this.
Let's see, a random one. Oh, that's kind of weird though. I ain't gonna ask that one. I think I had this one before. Never celebrate your birthday again or never drink alcohol again.
Well, I don't celebrate my birthday anyway. So I guess it would have to be alcohol or a birthday because I don't celebrate my birthday. So birthday. Yeah.
Cool. What do people always tell you that you're good at aside from what you do for a living?
Multitasking.
That's an awesome thing to be good
at.
Yeah.
I always get the multitasking. I think because people tie it with like the mom life and the work life and all that stuff. So yeah.
Awesome. When is the last time that you did something for the first time?
Oh, that's a good one. The last time today, I got my sofa set delivered like on Monday. So I was helping my husband put the furniture together, and I never ever did furniture. And it's weird because it all came in like pieces and boxes, and I was expecting like one big sofa. So yeah, I worked with him and put the sofa together. So now I think I'm good with that.
I like stuff like that. I'm very
yeah.
So if you weren't the CEO of Rich in Color Cosmetics and give me 5 seconds, mom needs a break, what could you see yourself doing?
Yeah, so I would probably still be working in the field in the beauty industry because that's where my heart is. But I actually wanted to be a realtor. So I did take like real estate 101. So I could see myself like in a real estate game.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. So you said that you have twin toddlers.
I have twin toddlers. They're 2 years old. Their names are Ivan and Mason. And they're extremely busy. And then I have right above the twin toddlers, I have my daughter. She's 5.
awesome.
Yeah.
God bless you. Okay.
Thank you. Thank
Two
you.
little boys that are so small. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh, it's because I have two older boys. They're like, they're teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
But when they were smaller, they wasn't as active as the twins. And I think the twins are so active because they have each other to, so it gets
off
crazy
of each other.
Yeah, it gets crazy
in here. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. So I want to jump into like, who is Shalena? Tell me a little bit about your background and everything, like where you're from and yeah.
So I actually grew up in the city of Philadelphia, actually North Philadelphia, not too far from Center City, Philadelphia. I actually just grew up with my mom and my sister. It was just the three of us living in North Philadelphia. And growing up, I didn't quite know what I wanted to do in high school. You know how like you're in high school and everybody's like, oh, I'm going to college, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. I like played around with ideas, but I really, my heart wasn't like, into it. So I can say like around 17, 18 years old, when I started to get into makeup and color and things of that sort, I took a retail job. I was working at Sears, actually selling shoes in the shoe department. And I remember just always walking over to Macy's. Are you familiar with the King of Prussia Mall?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, so it was in the King of Prussia Mall, and Macy's was like across the way from Sears. And I would go in and I would see like these beautiful girls at the counter, at the MAC counter, because MAC was my jam day. And I would see these beautiful girls at the counter, and I was like, oh, wow, that looks fun. But I didn't know how to do makeup. So I actually just like dived into cosmetics that way, just by like visually seeing, oh, okay, I started to get to know the girls at the counter, trying to find out how you get into the business. So yeah, that's pretty much my background. I did go to school for business. And that's where I did my real estate, and I thought I wanted to be a realtor. However, when I got into retail, it all shifted. So I actually started off working at Prescriptives. Are you familiar with Prescriptives?
I am, yeah.
Huge fan of Prescriptives. That was actually one of my favorite color brands for women of color, because they had like a wide range of color foundations. But shortly after that, I had kind of turned over to more like the business side. So it was more like less sales and more like business management, marketing, goals, like just a little bit of everything. And then I, worked for Bobbi Brown Cosmetics a little bit. So I managed Bobbi Brown business, which was actually, I think, where I learned a lot about, the business of color, if that makes sense to you, like how everything is like created and developed. And Bobbi Brown had like really good books back in the day, and I used to dive right into those books. So I spent the majority of my years in the color field, but it was more like on building and developing the brand versus, the sales side of the brand. And then shortly after that, I went to a brand. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's a brand called Juice Beauty.
Juice Beauty. I feel like it's like the packaging, like a lime green or something.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I had some other companies in between Juice Beauty and Bobbi Brown. Like I worked for a lot of Estee Lauder companies, Shiseido, all that fun stuff. But I took on an executive position with Juice Beauty. And I was handling like all of these accounts within actually in the DC area was my market as well. So I used to travel down to DC. I pretty much had like a lot of the retailers on the East Coast that I was responsible for. And I spent 7 years with them in the clean beauty world. So that's where I gained my knowledge into what clean beauty is all about, how, certain ingredients affects your body, what you want to stay away from. And I just really got a passion for that. And then I had ventured off and went to like a few other skincare brands as executive for them. And then I decided to launch Rich & Color after that. But actually, just to rewind back, Rich & Color actually launched back in 2012.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was working for Bobbi Brown Cosmetics, I launched Rich & Color, but I don't think I was I wasn't ready to take on that responsibility as a business owner. So we did launch our first collection of lipsticks back then. And then I just kind of I went to like a hard stop with it. I wanted to know more about building partnerships, marketing your products a little bit more, what to look for, what not to look for. So I put that on hold, and then we relaunched actually in 2019. So
awesome.
that's my story. Yeah.
Oh my God. So I've never actually like worked at the counter before. Did you ever work at the counter? Did you like work your way up to being behind the scenes?
I did. And you know, the crazy thing about it is when I was working, this is way back, like you're talking about 1999, 2000, when I was working at the counter. Once I got my first job at Prescriptives, I remember talking to like the executives, they were come in and they would do these big meetings. And I was like, I'm gonna have your job one day. You know, and back then it wasn't, I hate to say this, but it wasn't a lot of women that looked like me that had those positions. So it was unheard of. So when I would tell people that, they were like, oh, no way, you know, whatever. And then really fast, I want to say within 2 to 3 years, I had my first executive job within the industry. And from there, that's what I've been doing, is helping other companies like build their business.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's amazing. What was like your most favorite thing about having that position or those positions at those brands?
You know what? It was the fact it was a partnership building, because you're one-on-one with the retailers as a vendor. So it's actually like out networking your product, getting to know, you know, the different stores, the retailers, how this retailer moved, how that retailer moved. And I would say probably product and development. I was always most interested in just getting to know how the products work, what ingredients did this, you know, how does this work? How far does it travel down in the epidermis of the skin or the dermis of the skin? And, you know, because when you're a customer, you don't know all of that. You're just, you know, you're told like So to know the back end of that was I guess my driving force. And then I also seen, because back then, like I said, we have Prescriptives, we have Fashion Fair. I don't know if you're familiar with Fashion Fair.
Oh yes, I'm so mad. Yeah. Like I have a joke about Fashion Fair.
Yes, please.
Not to cut you off, but I was so upset when they went out of business because I always used to use the cola and the sable powder. And I was like, I know they got to have some of these powders in the warehouse. We need to run up in the warehouse and get
Sable was my jam too. I was very hurt when they went out of business. Yeah. Because for me, it was always like that safe spot for deeper skin tones. However, we had other brands that had like, this is way back in, just keep that in mind. I'm talking about like 99, 2000. We didn't have a large selection of, especially in the luxury side. Mm-hmm. Like they wasn't often those deeper colors. So I took notice of that. Like, I just remember my teams always calling me, like having a hard time matching, and, you know, and corporate would always ask me to bring back what the field wanted, like what they're looking for, what's missing out in the field. And you can bring back all this knowledge that you're gaining. However, it was still, you know, a disconnect there. Yeah. So yeah. I'm happy where we are now as a group. I still think we have a lot of growing to do, but Fashion Fair and Prescriptives was definitely one of those brands that you could go to and find your shade. So yeah.
I think Fashion Fair was like one of the first brands that when I was interested in makeup or just some kind of skincare or cosmetics, my mom took me to like a counter in this mall here. And when you mentioned King of Prussia, I had a flashback because I remember, I think it was like 2015 or 16, me and a couple of friends wanted to ride out there to go to Makeup Forever. And it was a snowstorm. It was a snowstorm going on. Like it just happened to happen while we were driving, and we got there and Makeup Forever was closed.
Wow. Did you guys overnight it?
No, we drove back.
Wow. Yeah. King of Prussia it's definitely, you know, like a landmark here in the city. But I miss Fashion Fair. We had our copper lipsticks and our chocolate lip liners. So yeah, that was the good old days.
Yeah. So aside from working at the counter, you never worked as a makeup artist?
No, I was like more business versus, because I never worked at the counter as an artist. I got in as a business development for that counter. And then from there, I was like, you move up to like an account coordinator for multiple retailers. And then from the account coordinator, you go into like an executive. And an executive actually oversees like a whole entire territory, but never a makeup artist. So whenever someone came in and get their makeup done, I would like, you know, turn them over to a makeup artist. I could do a little something. Like I'm good with color matching. I can definitely color match you. I can find you a gorgeous lipstick. But as far as like doing a complete look, that just was never my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to ask you, because I know all of those different brands have different aesthetics. And I know a couple of people now that work at Bobbi Brown. So whose aesthetic do you think that you kind of like more as a brand?
Oh, that's a good one. Let me think long and hard about that. I'm gonna be like truthfulness. So because I spent a lot of years in color, and then I spent just as many years in skincare. Mm-hmm. So if you're talking about color, when I was in the color field, I would have to say at that time, which was like 2010, 2007, 8, 9, 10, it would have to be Bobbi Brown Cosmetics. Mm-hmm. Huge fan of the brand. Just the concept, everything that Bobbi at the time was doing for the company. Yeah. Right? Woman power, girl power. And then the colors, like, I mean, the makeup speaks for itself. I literally still use the same brushes that I had from, in that time period. The brushes are amazing. Now, if you're talking about skincare, I can say, I would probably have to give that to Juice Beauty. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they're very, very hands-on with education and product knowledge. Like, that's their driving force. So, yeah, I would have to give that to them.
Yeah. And like, what are some of the challenges, aside for like some of the brands having challenges back in the day with like foundation colors and stuff like that? What are some other challenges that you saw or that maybe you had to, overcome working with some of the brands?
So here's the thing, and I don't want to walk on eggshells. I feel like I can, speak freely here with you. When that was my thing, it like in the corporate world, on the business side, like I was saying, it just wasn't any of us. I was always like the brown girl and the only brown girl in these corporate meetings. So that was definitely a challenge. And I didn't understand that. Like, I didn't understand why. So sometimes you can feel out of place, with certain things. So that was one thing, was, just always being that only girl. Although I'm sure it was others, but not within companies I was working with. Right. It's like one or two within the companies, and that's it. Besides that, I would say that was the biggest hiccup. Nothing else. I mean, if you're talking about foundations and lipsticks, that's a whole nother story. But if you're talking about more on the corporate side, I think that was the biggest hiccup that I had. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. So what inspired you then to create Rich in Color Cosmetics and then to like pick it up like several years later? Yeah, so here was my thing. When I launched Rich in Color back in 2012, it was definitely made for richer skin tones because at that time, like I said, the collection choices that we had just wasn't what we were looking for. We will always have to like mix foundations. We would have to mix lipsticks. We will always have to do extra. What I learned was we're actually sold more than what we need, if that makes sense to you. So like, selling two foundations, selling two concealers to get that perfect match. And I was like, that's not fair. Like, it shouldn't be like that, and you have someone of a fairer skin that's not African-American or non-Black and can come in and get that one shade and it's an easy match. It was always complicated with, golden to deep skin tone. So that was one call out for me. The other call out for me was how we were treated as far as branding goes. So you have some brands that actually are trained to sell a certain product to deeper skin tones because it's a safe spot, if that makes sense to you. So like, for instance, you go to, I'm not going to say any names, but you go to a counter and they selling you like a dark brown liner and a brown gloss, you know, like it sounds like, wait, we wear pinks, we wear bright reds, we can wear corals, we can pull all of that stuff off. So I was like, let's do it. And so that's what Rich in Color actually came about. Just finding, and then when I was in the field, because although I was on corporate side, I had to still go in the field and build these relationships. So I would be out on the floor helping people. And I had a lot of customers that looked like me that just was sold the wrong product. And, they were frustrated. They didn't understand why. And then on top of that, the retailers that I was working for, a lot of them didn't have women of color working in the store. So when they seen a face that was familiar, they would instantly gravitate to me, you know. So it was a lot of little things that kind of, you know, made Rich in Color like, oh, we're going to do this. And then Rich in Color itself, I always love to tell this story. I was actually working for Bobbi Brown Cosmetics, and I had a trainer, her name was Tia, and she's a woman of color, and she will always call me Rich in Color. Like, she will always call, you know, the deeper skin tones Rich in Color. I was like, oh, I like the ring of that. I like the way that sounds. She's not saying, you know, dark. She's not saying, you know, deep. She's like, you're rich in color. And I was like, I like that. So I decided to go with that and kind of run with it when we relaunched. Yeah.
Awesome. I love. So did you start off with lipsticks?
No. So that's the funny part. So my favorite thing is highlighters. Like, I love a good highlighter, right? And I, for years, only wore one highlighter from one brand because it just works really well for me. And I thought that was unfair as well, because some highlighters can come up chalky. They could come up a little gray on your skin tone. So our first actually product was our highlighters. My favorite loose highlighters. And what I found was when we launched those June 8th of 2020 during COVID. Like,
happy anniversary.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Oh, you know what? You just reminded me.
Like yesterday.
Celebrate. Yeah, I've been so busy. I forgot to celebrate that moment. So we launched our highlighters, and they were doing really, really well. However, I find that women are more into like pressed powder highlighters versus the loose highlighters. So we pulled those off, and we reformulated them. So they're going to be back out like around holiday season. But we launched lipsticks in November, and lipsticks are like my go-to because I feel like you can not have anything on your face, but a really good moisturizer and a good look, and you're good to go. So yeah, my lipsticks are my baby.
That is definitely my philosophy. So like, for the most part, my makeup looks like this. And then what changes is lipsticks. I absolutely love lipsticks. I wear like the bright colors, the dark colors, the whatever.
Yes.
I just love lipsticks. Yes.
That's me. I have to send you some of our lipsticks too.
I would love
Yeah, so that's me. Like, I'm all about, like, I can just put like a good sunscreen on, you know, maybe a little powder on a brow. But lipstick is always something I never really leave home without. So lipsticks were definitely on our list, like, as our next launch. And I'm super happy. I'm like super proud of the lipsticks. Like, they're legit good.
Yeah. So what was your process for like starting off the brand when you did the highlighters first? Like, did you do like private label, or did you kind of like make your own formula?
So when I was working for a retailer at the time, and we were always, so when you're working in the field, you kind of meet so many different people. And at the time, I was with a Stila executive, and I didn't know that making makeup was that easy. Like, I didn't know, you know, like if you're not Googling or anything like that, you would think it's a hard job. And I remember having this conversation with this executive from Stila, and he was just telling me, you know, how to go about doing things. Because not only was he was like a creative director for them at the time as well. Mm-hmm. So he was just giving me all these tips on, you know, what to do. So what I did my research. I had to find a lab, of course. So all of our products are made out of New York. And at the time when we launched Rich in Color, was actually under another brand called Beauty. I actually went with the same lab that was creating the products for the company I was working with. So we launched those, and being that we had such a solid relationship, I just went back to them when it was time to make, you know, our new lipsticks, which is the new Rich Girl. So I say the process, it does take a lot of time. It takes a lot of research. You have to know what you're looking for. You have to know your ingredients. You have to find a good chemist, a good lab, or a good company that can create and develop the products for you. And you have to make sure it's within your budget, you know? So when a lot of people say, you know, they want to launch like 4 or 5 products at a time, I'm like, it's not that easy unless you have like a multi-million-dollar product, because production is expensive.
Yeah.
So you have to keep that in mind as well. Like, the cost of making a lipstick is not that much, but you know, once you finalize that formula, the cost of production. That's my daughter. I'm sorry. The cost of production is very get costly. So I think we interviewed a lot of different labs. We had some in Jersey. We had some in New York. We had a few labs that we interviewed in Florida, and then we finalized it with the one in New York, only because they were close to us, I think. And they were very knowledgeable. They had, you know, like I said, they did the products for the company that I was working for. So I was like, that's a no-brainer. Mm-hmm. And it's all about having like that healthy relationship with whoever's developing. I mean, you're giving them so much money. You got to have that, that healthy relationship with them as well. Yeah.
I was going to ask about the startup cost. So is that something that's like a lot of money up front to do? Because I know when you're doing
No.
like private labeling, you got to order like a whole bunch of products at one time. And
Yeah, no, actually it's not upfront, not upfront. So that's why I always say like each company is different. So interview the company and see exactly what their minimum is, if that makes sense to you. So, and then also know what you're looking for as far as ingredients go. So I'll give you a scenario. Like if you're calling a lab and you're like, I'm looking for a lipstick with a hyaluronic base, but I also want to have like, like vitamin E infused in it, XYZ. I don't want any petroleum in there because petroleum is very a cheaper ingredient to make, to infuse in your lipstick or in any product. Mm-hmm. And then see what their cost is for raw materials. Like see what their per cost is for creating something like that for you. And then I'll get back to you with one cost for like one product. Now, not a color, but for the formula. And then they'll say, how many shades do you think you want? How many shades are you looking for? And you can, I'm looking for browns. We want a collection of browns, or we want a collection of reds, like 5 reds. And then they'll tell you, okay, well, if you want this formula, you want it in this type of red, and, whatever the case may be, whatever dyes or whatever dyes you come up with, they'll send you total costs based on the raw materials, based on your production, and production falls into their minimum. So once you pay your first initial fee to create your product, the dollars come into when it's time to go into production, because they could say, hey, you're going to have to order 100,000 per color. And 100,000 per color can be like $2 per product. So that's where the money comes into play.
Got you. So how has your experience working with the other brands as an executive and business manager, how has that played a role in like how you have developed and like operate your business?
Yeah, it makes it very easy for me because prior to that, I think when I prematurely launched, and although I was in the industry for some years, I still was lacking knowledge, right? So now I know how to not only approach these companies, I know exactly what I'm looking for. I don't let them overtalk me. I kind of like to control the conversation a little bit just based on meetings and everything that I've been into. So it does give me a little bit of leeway. And also being that I have been in corporate meetings and labs with chemists. So I've been in a lot of labs, corporate meetings where our chemist is there and they're telling us how to, make a product, how to develop a product. So all of that falls into play when I'm out, meeting with people that can actually produce products for us as well.
I've always been so curious about product development. I think that is just like the coolest thing to be able to have a front row seat at how things are made. I think that's super cool. I
agree with you. It's super fun, especially for someone like you, because your artistry. Like you, I think you like to me, makeup artists, like that's their thing. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, as for an artist, you can say I'm like, what looks good on people. My thing is creating products for the everyday woman based on experience that I had with the everyday woman when I was out in the field. So it is fun. It can be a headache at the same time though, for someone like me, but it's cool. So we only played around with highlighters and we only played around with the lipsticks. I would love to tap into foundations. We are in the making of that. We just actually brought someone on board that's like really good with product and development. That's also good. Like if you get your brand to a certain level and you can kind of hire like a part-timer, not a full-timer. You can also hire freelancers if you can't afford a full-timer or a part-timer and just have someone working like 6 hours a week for you. Product and development, they're actually out there trying to find out what's hot in the market. They're bringing that to you, and together you guys can collectively, put together some ideas and present that to the lab as well, to the company that's producing your product. So it is fun. It's fun, but it can be frustrating at the same time.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, because I'm so like at this moment in my life, I'm so into just like different ways to like make money. And I've been looking at like different developing my own products maybe one day, because people always ask me that as a makeup artist, like, have you ever thought about having your own makeup line? And I'm like, no, not really, because I don't know, if I did, I would want to do something different. But I'm seeing this concept of like a hero product, of like starting off with that one thing and then like building the brand from that. And I'm always curious to know like the research that goes behind like what product that comes out next after that hero product? Like, do you have a process for that, like determining like
it actually, so you want to kind of like plan like a yearly type of plan or a quarterly plan, or it's normally like quarterly and yearly. So you create this calendar, and with your team, as a team, you guys put together what you think is a good fit for your brand, but also what's a good fit for the market. So with our highlighters, I think they were supposed to be our hero product. And like I said, they did really, really well. But I think when we relaunched the pressed powders, I honestly think that the highlighters might, oversee our lipsticks, although our lipsticks are phenomenal. I love those pieces. But as a hero product, I know some companies that didn't find their hero product until they were like 12 products in.
Oh, wow.
So, it's a give and take. Like if you're coming out with like something that's a hero product, that means you have something that's not out yet, or something that's better than the best that's out. Like, I'll throw this out there. Like, for instance, if you go into like a Ulta, if Benefit and Anastasia are the two brands that they're going to take you to for brows. You know what I mean? Like, because that's what they're known for. So that's kind of like their hero product. And I remember when Anastasia launched, and she had her brow pencils and all that fun stuff, and her stencils she used to have back in the day. So that's her hero product. But then nowadays, I kind of feel like everyone has something. So you have to come out with something that's just not heard of, like the Beauty Blender. Like that right there. That right there. Oh my God. Like, if I would have thought of something like that, but that's their product that's not out. So yeah, I would consider something like that a hero product, unless you have something like, for instance, like a lipstick, because I feel like lipsticks are hard to find. Like, a really good lipstick can be hard to find. So if you have something like a lipstick, like what's in your lipstick that's making your lipstick different from, the next lipstick. So is it the texture? So that's how you can create a hero product, like from a similar product, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, I think that's always my challenge when people ask me if I want to come out with something. I was like, if I did come out with something, I want it to be kind of innovative.
Yeah,
that's how I am. Yeah,
I do like that. I can definitely, I don't know you personally, but I can see you like, really thinking more towards in the future when it comes to that type of stuff. I think for Noun and Color, like brushes, I think we're lacking like really good makeup brushes, stuff like that. I would love to tap into that. But yeah, I think we went with lipsticks, like really bright, vibrant lipsticks, because you normally don't see that for color brands. It's always the opposite, and we don't have to stick to like browns and berries. We can definitely do like our bright corals. So that's the direction we went into. But yeah, it's different when you're trying to find something that's not out yet.
Yeah, definitely.
And costly.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would love to know how you balance being a mom of 5 and being a businesswoman and a wife. Like, how do you do it?
Yeah. So I get asked that question a lot. Because at one point in time, I hate to say this, but when I was an executive for one of the skincare brands I was working for, I was never home. Like, I was literally like always out on the road, like, somewhere in North Carolina, California, somewhere. And at the time, my 2 oldest boys was just getting so big, and I was just missing out on so much. But I am happy to say I have a really good support team. My husband's phenomenal. He's very hands-on with the kids. And then at that time, my mother was very supportive as well. So that made my job a lot easier for me. As far as multitasking go, because sometimes, like, when you're working in that world, you definitely have to have like your office days. And every day is kind of like an office day. So I have to give all my credit to my support team for definitely allowing me to really, go full force with my career. Because my heart was definitely into driving my businesses and of course my kids, but I couldn't drive my businesses and have my kids if I didn't have that support team, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
So a solid team always makes a big difference.
Yeah. So I don't have any kids yet. I have like a ton of nieces and nephews, but I would love to know, like, on the personal side, because for me, I'm like, I'm so focused on trying to get my business to a certain place before I have kids.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice of like, just do you think that people should be in a certain space or try to strive to be in a certain place before they have kids as a businesswoman or a businessman?
I can say this because I experienced both. And I don't want to say yes or no, but I'll give you my personal experience. So I have my oldest son very early. He's actually about to leave for college in a few weeks. A few months. In August he's leaving. And it was when I had him like as soon as I entered into the beauty industry. It was challenging. It was definitely challenging. And then when I had my second set of kids, which is my twins and my Gabby, it was a lot easier for me. Because first for maturity reasons, but also because I kind of understood myself a little bit more. So I knew how to move as far as business and motherhood goes. So I say do what you think is like best for you. Like what you have to know yourself what's best for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Yeah, I don't think it's a right or a wrong way, but it can be challenging if you're not like at least halfway to where you want to be.
Yeah, because I'm getting old, so like
yeah, what you saying?
I said I'm getting old, so I'm like,
yeah. I have my second set. I wouldn't say late, but I'm, it wasn't in my 20s or my early 30s.
Yeah.
So, and I kind of enjoyed them. I enjoy motherhood a lot better at this age than I did when I was in my early 20s. So, yeah. You got time, girl.
I don't know.
You got time.
So I want to know too, like, how do you successfully multitask? Because I feel like I do pretty good at multitasking, but I also have to be careful of like not overwhelming myself because I can get easily overwhelmed as well when I'm trying to juggle like different things. Is there a way that you have found to like successfully multitask where things are actually getting done?
I actually was taught that. So I had a mentor, her name is Joanne, and she actually gave me my first executive job in the field. And I learned so much working under her, and it was all about time management. That's what it narrows down to, like how you manage your time. So I remember at one point, without me like overextending myself to certain things or, committing myself when I really was in a position that I couldn't commit, learning how to say no is one, but definitely time management. Like if you have a business or you're starting up a business, what does those office days and office hours look for you? Like, you know what I mean? You don't want to mix it up on the day you have something else going on or if you're planning something else. So I definitely have to like schedule my calendar accordingly. So with the kids and especially with the twins, I get up like around 6 in the morning. I'll come downstairs to my desk and I'll do my office hours from like 6 to 9. And then they're up, and it's time to do breakfast and then play with them. And then they take a nap. Then I'm back at the office from like 12 to 1. So it's kind of like that time management. And then some days I need a whole day to myself. So I have to plan ahead. I have to ask my husband like, hey, you're going to watch the kids today? Or can your mom watch the kids today? Or something like that. So I would say it's all about time management.
Gotcha. Do you do like time blocking? Is that sort of what it is?
Yeah, exactly. So I was just telling my sister this because I have a little sister. She's a little younger than me, and her daughter is really young. And I was just telling her just how to on those days. And sometimes you don't feel like if you got a day off, you don't want to be like online trying to do things because I feel like we do that a lot. Like we're trying to like fit things in when it's really our time to sit back and really just relax. So I do block out times and block out dates where I can just go in and just zoom in and let that be that. And then I don't want to, and I had to learn this the hard way. Whereas though I'm doing some like a task and I stop and I don't like, I'll get back to it later. You know what I mean? And then later it can be me interfering with something else I have planned. So now I'm backed up, So yeah, those time blocking definitely works.
I was going to ask too, how do you hold yourself accountable? Because like when it's up to you, I know when it's up to me sometimes, I'm like, yeah, I just want to take a nap. So I'm just going to take a nap.
Well, for me, because my mortgage and stuff is dependent on it. I have to like, you know what I'm saying? I really have to stay really, really stern on what I'm getting done and how I'm getting it done. And then I do have a really good team player, Natalie, that you talk to. She's amazing with just like giving me like reminders on what to do. what's needed, what's the plan of action for the week, and all that fun stuff. So it's always good to have like a solid person next to you too that can stay on top of you as well.
So you answered like one of the questions I had too, because I know like when you're growing a business or once you get to a certain point, you do have to hire people.
Yeah.
So is she the only person that you have like on your team?
No, and that's the tricky part. Like the good thing about me is that I've been in the industry for a while, so I kind of built relationships with all types of people, and everyone's always looking for something to do. So that process was easy for me. It's all about creating a budget though.
Okay.
You know, so when you first start off, you're probably not gonna, unless you have like a loan from somewhere, you know, like a big loan, and you can afford to have someone, you know, on board, then you can hire like a staff or assistant or something like that. But for us, we didn't have that. So it was all about budgeting for me. So you have to set, and that goes back to like that yearly calendar, that quarterly calendar. So when you setting out your year for your business, what does that look like financially for you? And what does that look like for you as far as your projected goals? Like, what do you want to see back in return? Mm-hmm. So it's all about creating like a really good budget in which you can and can't afford. I can honestly say the best way to go, if you're like paying out of pocket, you don't have a loan, get a freelancer. Okay. Hire a freelancer, contract them. You know, I think it's a 1099 you do. My husband handles all of that for us. And, you know, do it that way. And then once you get your business to where it needs to be financially, you can hire someone like full-time or part-time. But we had like a little pop-up stand at one of the malls when we first launched. So we did have like a part-time employee then. But ever since then, we have like our freelancers and contractors and things of that sort. But we're a nice little family team. Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of people do you have on your team? Like what kind of tasks do they handle?
Yeah, so actually, prior to Natalie, we had two beautiful young ladies that worked for us, and they did more like branding and PR for us. So they did a really, really good job. Because I'm an older girl, you know, I'm old school. I always say that. I'm like, I don't know if you remember these brands, but like Benson Logo, Sue Devitt, you know, see, I told you wasn't going to remember. So So I was like, you know, I was doing everything like in that time frame. So I hired these two young girls and they came in and they literally revamped. There was, you know, rich in color. And that's what you see now on our site. So I have to give props to them. And then we worked together for like a year. And after them, Natalie came on board. So now she's like, she does a little bit of everything for us. We also have, of course, our website. We have an in-house photographer. And then I do have someone that works part-time that does education for us. I thought that was very important. So her name is Jen, and Jen actually goes out and she pulls education pieces for us. When we go into production, she is doing like the education sheets. She's pulling the ingredients together and presenting that to us to present to you and everybody else that we come in contact with. So we have education and branding right now.
I love that. I love education.
Yeah.
For our friends in beauty that are interested in starting like their own physical product line, do you have any advice for them for like where to start?
Yeah. So I get that a lot. I will honestly say, you know, whatever it is, it can, you know, lipstick, lip liner, or even if it's not color, you know, toner or moisturizer. Know your ingredients. Like that's my biggest takeaway, because a lot of times it's so trendy to launch a product line and you really not understand how ingredients affects your body. Like 60% of that you absorb, and a lot of those ingredients are linked to health issues. So I would highly suggest, you know, doing your research. If you're going a private label way, do your research. If you're building from scratch, do your research, and definitely hire like a part-time chemist to help you put those pieces of the puzzle together. I lost my mom and my sister to breast cancer back to back. And a lot of, you know, ingredients that we use, lipstick, skincare, or whatever, you know, is linked to breast cancer. So you want to just kind of make sure, you don't have to be organic or anything like that, but you want to make sure that your customers are, you know, they can be comfortable and confident in investing in your product. So definitely I would say research your product before you even think about going into any type of production or launching anything, is know what you're selling to your customers.
Right. I'm so sorry to hear that about your mom or your sister.
Yeah.
Is that the reason why you chose to go like more of like the clean route for your product?
Yeah, because I was working for Juice, and at the time I was working, the owner of the company, her name was Karen, and I never really heard in the industry, except a few brands like Caudalay and Perez and a few other brands, but Karen actually just was very hands-on in educating us on the importance of being organic. And I was there for almost 8 years, 7.5 years, 8 years. And even with our foods, I learned so much from her. And I remember when my sister got her diagnosis, I was like, dang, like this is something I should have been educating. I'm educating everybody else, but I'm missing out on my family. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that was the reason why when we relaunched Rich in Color, I was like, look, we got to do this the right way. I don't want, XYZ in our products. I want my customers to feel really confident and, safe in what they're using. So they were definitely the inspiration on us getting more clean. Absolutely.
That's amazing. I think that's something that a lot of people don't even talk about with cosmetics, because I had a young lady on a couple of weeks ago. She was just telling me about certain things that are in lipsticks that we just have no clue about. Yes. And I was like so shocked. Like, what?
Yeah, that's how I was. And I started working for Juice back in 2011 or 2012. Mm-hmm. And I was clueless. And up until that time, I was already in the industry for like 10 plus years. So to go 10 plus years and no one ever talked about chemicals and how they affect your body and all this stuff. So when I got with them, it was like an eye opener for me. I was like, it was a whole new world. I was like, oh my goodness, like, are you serious? And then I started doing my own research, and I was like, this is serious. Yeah. So I say read your ingredients. I tell everyone, read your ingredients, like read those first 3 ingredients in the back of your box, even read the small print and see exactly what you're purchasing.
Right. At one point I even purchased the like a cosmetics ingredients dictionary. Yeah. Because a lot of the times you don't know what those things, I can't even pronounce half of the stuff that's on there.
You really don't. I mean, yeah, like because the words are just it's like these, it's like, well, what is
be a doctor or something.
Yeah, well, thank God for places like Reddick and Paula's Choice and all that fun stuff, because we're always like Googling, all that. And then all the educational sheets that I got over the years, that's my little Bible. So I'm always flipping back to stuff. Yeah.
Like, what are some challenges though that you faced like in the beginning developing your brand versus like the type of challenges that you have now?
Yeah, I said I had more challenges when I first launched Rich in Color, which was at the time was called LM Beauty, and that's because I really didn't know the background of that, like the industry part of that, and that's why I had to step back. I think a lot of companies, because I was in my 20s, I think they were like, oh, this little girl, like, what does she want? Like I wasn't being taken that serious. So I think that was like one of the challenges I faced, developing my line. Another challenge I faced, of course, was financial. You're doing everything out of pocket. And it's costly. You want the products to be what you want the products to be, not what someone suggests based on your budget. So that can be another challenge, getting that together. Yeah. And also, I think you and I touched on it. What's a good product to put out there? Like do we go foundations? I'm scared of foundations. I'm scared to launch a foundation. Although I would love to launch a foundation. Like if I launch a foundation for women of color, like seriously, it has to be legit, like bomb.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, I don't know about that. I'm going to have to hire, like the best chemists and do that. It's one brand. It's one chemist that works for a makeup brand, and she's a woman of color. And the foundations are phenomenal. Like if I can't get that, then nothing. So I think like finding like that right product to launch as well.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So what is next for Rich in Color? I know you said you have a few launches coming up.
Yeah. So we're super excited. We have a lot going on. I'm just overwhelmed on how, like, we were so quiet for a while, and now we're at a place where we just had our campaign with Vogue that's going on for 3 months.
I saw that.
Yeah, we were super excited about that. We have one coming up with Glamour, so we're super excited about that as well. And as far as our products go, we're actually launching like our lip glosses. They're very clean lip glosses. They're called Globetrotters. I have a hard time pronouncing that. Someone from the team came up with that. They're called Globetrotters because if you go on our website, we kind of give you like the new rich girl, like that, you know, that like the Black girl that's really out there making things happen. That's what Rich in Color is all about. So the Globetrotter girl is actually like, she's an international girl. She's traveling all over the place, you know, and we dedicated that line to that girl. So actually each gloss is a different language, like money in a different language. Ooh. So we're super excited about that. It's very fun. And then we have our Shea Butter lipsticks that's launching because I got a lot of, so here's the thing. I love color, but all women don't want, you know, a super pigmented lipstick on their lip. So I did get some pushback from some women like, hey, can you do like a sheer lipstick? So we're doing like sheer lipsticks with Shea Butter and Hues. That's going to be like our active ingredient in that. And then I'm teasing with some eyeshadows. I'm not quite sure because I'm trying to find the perfect eyeshadow with the right amount of pigment, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So for sure, for Q3 and Q4, we're launching the Globetrotter lipsticks and then the Shea Butter lip glosses and lipsticks.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I look forward to seeing that unfold.
Yeah, I have to see some. Yeah.
I love that. So
absolutely.
One of the things that I'm really getting into lately too is marketing. So like, what are some of the ways that you find that have like successfully that you find that have been successful with marketing your business? Because it's like so many different things that you can do. Like, do you run ads, influencers? Like,
yeah, it's for me, it was some people could, you know, some brands I see can put a product out and then it skyrocket, you know, it just takes off because they have like a celebrity backing or they have like a strong influencer backing. Our budget wasn't built like that. Like I actually created Rich in Color out of my own pocket. And we was just like a small budget brand. So for us, marketing actually, I put more money into like product and development when I think I should have had balance in between the two. So that's what kind of kept us quiet for a long time. Mm-hmm. But then I hired someone to come aboard and kind of do our marketing for us because I'm not a social media queen. Like, that's not my thing. I'm not a graphic queen. That's not my thing. Oh, we do have a phenomenal graphic designer on our team. We actually have 3 graphic designers that do a phenomenal job. So it's, for me, it's kind of like, if that's not your niche, you have to find someone that understands your brand and that's their niche. Mm-hmm. And they can help you get to where you want it to, you know, where you want to be. So our new person that we have for branding does all of the marketing and she's just been doing a phenomenal, amazing job with that. But now we're getting into our influencers now. So we don't have a lot, but we're actually building those relationships as we speak. Mm-hmm. And also I think a lot of times we bank a lot on social media versus, you know, actually, you know, stepping out of that world and getting back more into like an old school type of world where you're building relationships versus like posting all the time. Yeah. So that's been like very key for us these last few months. And I think that's been working for us as well.
Yeah. I love that. You hit the nail right on the head when you said getting somebody that understands your brand, because I feel like I'm at the point where I need to start like hiring people to help me with things because I pretty much do literally everything by myself. Like I record, edit, graphics, I do everything literally. And I think my challenge is just finding someone who is going to deliver the way I deliver. And that has been so hard.
That is extremely hard. And the person I have that does that for me actually wanted to work with us in the beginning. And I was like, no, you know, I have this and I went that direction. But I finally did give that person a chance and they just been killing it. But when you're doing it by yourself, because that was me, it's kind of hard to see things full circle. You know what I'm saying? Like you're trying your best, but then you're calling people like, do this look right? Do this sound right? You know, you're trying to get different inputs from different people. So I would just suggest probably if you can do like a small tiny budget and maybe hire, well, not for you, but for anyone, hire someone that can come in and just maybe do some marketing for you, like 20 hours a month. It doesn't have to be like 20 hours a week. And do it that way. And then you could kind of learn from them as well, and you could start kind of doing things yourself. But you definitely have to have someone that wants to see you win more, see you and your brand win more than you do. Like they have to like really believe in you and your product. That could be challenging finding like someone like that.
Yes, I'm just praying every day that it's just going to happen, but I'll be patient.
Yeah, you got it. I was patient for like almost 2 years. I was getting frustrated. I was like, what's going on? Because we were hiring people and I feel like the industry is so competitive right now, or I won't say competitive, but very saturated. And sometimes people lose interest because they're like, oh, you're competing with this brand and that brand. And for us, we wasn't competing with anyone because we're such a small brand. But some people could get tired of pushing that for you, So yeah, it takes time.
You froze for a hot second, but I'll work it out.
I did. I'm sorry.
No problem. So how do you stand out in the market, since you mentioned it's oversaturated or just saturated? How do you stand out in the market when you have like the Fenties and the Huda Beauties and all of that?
Yeah, and I absolutely love all of those brands. I'm actually inspired. I go and walk in Sephora all the time to see what's hot and what's new and how can we change it. I think for us, even if you go on our website, it's very different from like the average website. It's very, especially for, I would say for a color brand, like a Black-owned beauty brand, so you say, it's very not muted, if that makes sense to you. And not to say other brands are, because I'm a fan of all the other brands, but it's kind of like the flip side and the opposite, but still catering to that deeper, darker skin tone. So that can be a lot different. I love the fact, like, if you go visit us on Instagram, it's very not normal, if that makes sense. We get a lot of compliments on our graphic designs and things of that sort, and how we put the whole thing together. But I'm gonna call out, like, for instance, are you familiar with Hourglass? I love Hourglass. So we're not Hourglass at all, because they are very high end, but I love me some Hourglass. But I kind of think of like Rich as if like, we're like that, that more in that type of direction, but not as high end as someone like that. And very playful, like a Too Faced. So, but very mature too, probably like an Estee Lauder. So you're kind of getting like, you know what I mean? You're getting like serious makeup, of playful, and the pigment speaks for themselves. I mean, our lipsticks is actually like, but not like super hydrating. It locks in moisture, like all of that fun stuff, but it's bright, vibrant color. So I think we only got like 2 browns in our collection. So I think that sets us apart as well from a lot of our competitors, being that we don't, we're just not going to put our deeper skin tones in one color. Yeah.
I love that. So when are you working on your legacy to be when this is all, said and done?
Yeah. So I honestly, you know what? It's so crazy. I know this is going to sound like insane, and whoever's watching is going to be like, oh my God. So we have me and my husband, we have our corporate company. It's called Valley 7. And under Valley 7, we have Rich in Color, and then we have Give Me 5 Minutes. So my ultimate goal, to be honest, is I would love to be like Estee Lauder one day. Like, I would love to be like that Lauder brand. And Lauder, Lauder just has all these brands under that umbrella, I think that I will hope my legacy, as far as in the industry goes, is like that. But in my personal life, really just being like I'm very family oriented. So like being like the best mom and wife that I can be, because I live and love for like my family. That's what all the hard work is for, to be honest with you. Yeah. So yeah, that would be me.
I love that. And we didn't even talk about that brand. Can you explain to us really quickly, like, what that brand is all about? To Give Me 5 Seconds, Mommy Needs a Break.
Yeah. So Give Me 5 Minutes. Mom needs a break. Yes. No, you're fine. 5 second, 5 minutes, girls all need some type of break. Listen, that actually came about after losing my mom and my sister. So I lost them back to back within a year and a half. And they both passed from breast cancer, but they were always like hard working. They were always hardworking women, always on the go, always about the kids and the grandkids, and never really taking time out for themselves, not really enjoying the moment. And that was fine because that works for some people. However, that was a wake-up call for me because actually when my mom passed, that's when I took a step back from the executive role. So that was a wake-up call for me. Give Me 5 Minutes is all about encouraging that woman, or that, especially it's for moms, but it's for all women, to really just take time out for yourself, you know, to make that space available for yourself. And I'm not like talking about getting your nails and feet done, because I feel like that's mandatory for us sometimes, you know, depending on what field you work in. But just like that peace of mind, you know what I mean? Like just doing nothing in the moment. And like I said, learning how to say no to certain things. So that's what Gimme is all about. And I happen to be obsessed with coffee. Like I love coffee. I drink coffee all day, morning and night, in between break. Oh, like that's just my jam. So we wanted our first product to be like something you can actually just sit back, relax, and enjoy. So we have our coffee called Mama's Roast. Oh. Yeah, it's very cute. It's an organic coffee, and it has like a caramel swirl and vanilla notes in there. And then our next launch, I think we're launching like healthy granola bars. So we actually do like healthy break time refreshments for moms. That's what it's all about. But it was inspired by my mom and my sister.
I love that. It's super. My sister loves coffee, so I'm definitely going to have to get some for her. I'm more of a tea girl.
Send me your address. I'll ship it off tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for having us. Like that's our gift. Like we'll send you a lipstick and the coffee. Yeah.
Thank you so much. This has been so amazing. I've learned so much about you. Your background is like outstanding.
Oh, thanks.
But before you go, I have to ask you the Friends in Beauty rapid fire questions. I ask all of my guests these questions just to get like their keys to longevity and success in the beauty industry. So whatever comes first to your mind, just, you know, spit it out. What are the top 3 keys to your success so far?
Believing in myself, right? And I'm gonna put this under believing in myself, having confidence in yourself. That all falls under, you have to have confidence. Oh my goodness, because you can step in a meeting and be like, you know, just kind of intimidated about what's going on around you. So confidence and believing in yourself goes a long way. Always wanting to learn more. Like you don't know it all, and it's always room for growth. So I will say really make sure that you're like, for me, my success is like always wanting to educate myself and wanting to know more. Always looking up to women that actually kind of been there and done that in my industry, and learning from them as well. So definitely educating for me was educating myself. I would say that was like 2. And very ambitious. Like, you know, don't give yourself a limit on what you can do. Like you could do whatever you want to do, like in the industry, whether like, even if you're not a makeup artist and you want to learn how to be a makeup artist, educate yourself on that. For me, I wasn't an executive, but I knew that was my long-term goal. And I got there. So always be like very ambitious and motivated to push yourself to do what you know you can do.
Got you. How do you measure your success?
Say that again.
How do you measure your How do you measure your success?
How do I measure it? In this number standpoint, just kind of like in an overall standpoint.
Overall, however you measure it.
Okay. I would have to say, if this makes sense, I'm not where I want to be. Does that fall under what me saying measuring? Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, so I'm not where I know I can go, but I'm on that ladder going there. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense. So I would have to say I came a long way, and I have a long way to go.
Gotcha. I love that. Yeah. That makes total sense to me. What's the best advice? What's the best advice that you have ever received?
Ooh, that's a good one. best advice I ever, because I received a lot. Wow. I would have to fall back into the education piece. You can't be in business, and whether you're working for someone else and running their business, or you're starting your own business, you have to know and understand the business. And I actually learned that from, because I used to be kind of lazy. I learned that from my mentor, Joanne. She used to always just ride me about certain things. And I never looked at her for riding me about it, but she would always say to me, take your time out, like take time out and get to know, like see what's in front of you and understand what you're doing and educate yourself on what you're doing. Like, you know, so I would have to say education and really understanding the process is probably the best piece of advice I got, because you can't just dive in, you know? And I think a lot of us think we can just dive in because based on what we see on social media, it can come off like it's very easy, but it's the opposite. So definitely like the education piece for yourself.
Got you. What advice could you offer to someone who's just ready to give up on, being in the beauty industry?
If your heart is still into it and your passion is still into it, I definitely wouldn't give up, because it was plenty of times, even before launching Rich in Color, I kind of wanted to walk away from certain things, just based on life experience or whatever the case may be, or I wasn't getting what I wanted in return, especially with Rich in Color, I have to say that. But don't give up on your depth. Yeah, if your heart is into it, just keep pushing and always try to, what I say is, and this is what I learned, if it's not working for you, sit back, take a step back, see what everyone else is doing, and don't follow what they're doing, but seeing how you can revamp your business, because you can rebrand and rebrand and rebrand. And when I say rebrand, I'm not saying like repackage or anything like that, but you can always change the flow of things. And I learned that by working in the field. Like I seen brands that came in and we had to like hurry up and store it and like pull everything off the shelf because they wanted something completely different. You know what I'm saying? And they're still here. So you can always rebrand versus just giving up on yourself.
I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah.
What's a resource that has helped you in your business that you can share with the Friends in Beauty community? And it could be anything.
Yeah, LinkedIn. That sounds crazy, right? LinkedIn is amazing. Like if you have like their monthly subscription thing, they have so much when it comes to marketing, when it comes to building vendor relationships, when it comes to sales, when it comes to websites, when it comes to sell funnels. And I learned a lot. Like when we first went into quarantine, that was my go-to. Like I was on LinkedIn almost every day. 2 to 3 hours a day. And then after you finish these courses, you take a class afterwards, like a little quiz. So I would say LinkedIn was really good, depending on your field. But LinkedIn has such a wide field, so you can actually go in and see what's best for you. That works for me. And also, I would say Google is always good. Google's always good, but LinkedIn for sure.
Okay, so I got to stop ignoring those requests for LinkedIn.
Yeah, you know what? Someone recommended it to me actually, like to start the trial for like 30 days, and if you don't like it, be done with it. But I'm telling you, you're gonna love it. Like it's very like once you get started, you're gonna be like, oh, and TED Talks. I do love TED Talks too.
Ooh, okay.
Very helpful as well. But LinkedIn was really good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And this is the last one. So I want you to fill in the blank and say, my name is blank, and the key to longevity and success is whatever you think it is.
Okay. So my name is Shalena, right? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the key to longevity and success is patience and knowledge.
I love it. Before you go, share all of your social media information where people can find you and all of your brands.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're on Instagram at Rich in Color Cosmetics. We're on Facebook at Rich in Color Makeup. Our .com is, of course, www.richincolorcosmetics.com. So we're there. We're actually in the current gold magazine. We'll be there for June, July, and August. And then we'll be in Glamour magazine also for July, August, September. So you can find us there as well. It's going to be a hot summer. And we're super, super excited to announce that we're actually going to be in the Glow Box. Are you familiar with the Glow Box?
No, what's that?
Oh, you have. So the owner name is Jaleesa, and she owns a beauty glow box dedicated for women of color. And she's phenomenal. So we're excited that we're going to be in their June subscription that's actually dropping June 15th. So you can find us there as well.
Wow, amazing. You have so much awesome things going on. I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, thank you. I want to say that I'm proud of you. Like, I'm proud of this, because this is like, interviewing people and having a podcast, that's a people's person field. So like, congratulations on that, because that's amazing. And then what I really admire about it is that you're giving people a chance to speak and express themselves, and that their voices and their brands can be heard. So congratulations to you. I love it.
Thank you. And thank you so much for coming and sharing with us.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Friends in Beauty podcast. Don't forget, sharing is caring. Share this episode with at least one friend in beauty, and subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts so that other friends in beauty can find this show. Plus, we'd love to hear your feedback. Connect with us on all social media platforms at Friends in Beauty, # Friends in Beauty to join the conversation, and join our Friends in Beauty Facebook community to stay connected. Talk to you soon.